What's up, everybody? David Yakir here for iHeartRadio's Yak About, a boomer's GPS guide to life. So if you're familiar with the years 46 to 64, then this is the place you want to be. So put your headphones on, go for a run, and listen as we yak about. Hey girls and guys, David Yakir here for Yak About, helping you be better, healthier, and more informed than any generation that came before. We are broadcasting from the Bent Pine Golf Club in the heart of the Treasure Coast today, and if you are listening via radio, a shout out to Waxy 107.9 FM, WZTA 1370 AM, and the real radio stations 101.7. Let's see what we have to yak about today. Okay, topic 1. Has Apple finally solved the blood glucose problem? Topic 2. Is poor sleep hygiene killing you? 3. Even the wiser and more mature of us have phone addiction, and we'll help you cure it. And if we have time, hello, Dolly. And this time, it's all Bette Midler. But first, our sponsors. Okay, before we begin, remember that this show is sponsored in part by New Vision Eye Center. If you care about your eyes, go see Dr. Minotti, Reinauer, Tate, O'Brien, and the rest of that great team, because I myself, Sally, Wayne, and the entire Yak About team wouldn't trust our eyes to anyone else. And by Chef Bill of Inspired Foods for You, the personal chef and catering company. Their clients on the Barrier Island have been raving about him and how he has made the food experience as unique and individual as the clients themselves. Some call him the caregiving chef. If it's a private chef you need or catering for events large and small, call Chef Bill at Inspired Foods for You at 772-217-5462. And I would be derelict if I didn't remind all of you small and medium-sized businesses that the David Yakir Group now has marketing programs designed specifically for you, from thought leadership programs to full-on marketing and media programs. And remember, in today's world, it's content and conversation which is critical to your go-to-market strategies. Call 212-244-6224 for a free consultation. That's 212-244-6224, or write to us at info@yakirgroup.com. Okay, so this next segment is a bit of Yak About Health and Yak About Tech combined, and I think it's really important. You know, when we talk about Apple, you know, Apple has a reputation of being a great innovator, and of course the Mac, but beyond the Mac, the iPod changed the entire industry. The iPhone certainly changed the entire world in one way or another. And when Apple released the Apple Watch, people thought it wasn't quite the game changer. But like anything else with Apple, it was really sort of, in the case of the iPhone, it's when they opened up the iPhone SDK and let developers build applications for it that all of a sudden it became a really useful tool for us. And so the Apple Watch has been sort of sitting there. And there's one thing that we were waiting for, and what was the game changer? What was going to make the Apple Watch the really must-have accessory that we all wanted to have? So I came across this recently, and I think it's been sort of hidden for the last 5 years. But it seems for the diabetic world is about to change. And what I mean by that is that, you know, I think I've talked about it on the radio before, I live with a type 1 diabetic. My mother was a type 2 diabetic, and it seems like the type 2 diabetes is growing exponentially. So we have something that apparently Apple is onto. They don't speak about it, but a lot of research was done on this, a lot of good reporting, and I've been digging up little by little, and I thought I'd bring it to you today, and that's that Apple wants its watch to be essential for diabetics. So what we do know is Apple is quietly developing a sensor that can monitor a person's blood sugar levels continuously and invasively. So if you know diabetics are always pricking their fingers to test their blood, and they test their glucose and they make decisions on how much insulin they should take based on the reading from testing their blood. But in between testing the blood, it is sort of nowhere land. They don't know really where their blood glucose levels are. But if successful, the technology will be integrated into a future version of the Apple Watch to help people with diabetes manage that condition. So the project, they say, was actually set up by Steve Jobs right before his death. Now, according to the report that I read, Apple has quietly hired engineers to work in secret, and it's believed that the company has been so successful, it is already running trials of the sensors at clinical sites in San Francisco. In fact, progress has been so encouraging that Apple has already hired consultants to help it navigate the torturous process of getting FDA approval. Now, there are a number of practical issues to overcome, including the fact that using optical sensors to read blood glucose level is very, very hard. I mean, the world is sort of littered, I guess, with companies that have tried and failed to use some kind of non-invasive monitoring for this particular issue. So right now, there are other ways of getting this continuous monitoring of the glucose levels. And the only effective way to continuously monitor someone's blood glucose level is with implants or other invasive tech. So continuous glucose monitors are often used in a stomach-based implant that connects with a transmitter that's held on the outside of your stomach. And even new wearables like K-Track use tiny needles to burrow into the skin in order to work. Listen to these statistics, because this is where the genius of the Apple Watch will come into play. According to statistics from the World Health Organization, there were 422 million people living with diabetes in 2014. That's up from 108 million in 1980. That's a staggering increase for a disease that is a major cause of blindness, kidney failure, stroke, heart attacks. In addition, the better part of 4 million deaths per year can be directly attributed to diabetes-related conditions. So, if Apple can somehow innovate where so many others have not, then it will make the number of people who have reasons to purchase a watch increase exponentially. Therefore, another game changer by Apple. So if you're a listener to this show, you know I'm a big fan of Apple. And one of the reasons I'm a big fan is not only because it has such great product, but because of its environmental stance. So this is a story that many of you would never have read anyplace, I don't think, unless you're reading the sort of geeky magazines that I read. Apple has a new Danish data center that'll supply heat to nearby homes and fertilizers to farmers. Now, everybody who does know anything about Apple knows that Apple has a commitment to environmental sustainability, and it's well established. But the company is going one step further in its new Danish data center. In addition to powering the center entirely from renewable energy, the company is capturing the waste heat generated and feeding it into a district heating system to warm local homes. So the data center is in, I hope I get this right, the Jutland region, and it'll be partly powered by recycling waste products from the farms, and Apple is working with the, again, Our House University on a system that passes agricultural waste through a digester to generate methane, which is then used to help power the data center. The digester reaction turns some of the waste into nutrient-rich fertilizer, which Apple returns to local farmers to use in their fields. Now, the data center should also be making a worthwhile contribution to the Danish economy. The government said last year that the $950 million project represented the largest foreign capital investment in the country's history. And Apple said in its annual environmental responsibility report that it is working toward a goal of making all of its products 100% recycled from recycled materials, ending the need for mining. Hooray, Apple. we are back. I'm David Yakir. You're listening to Yak About and what we are yakking about today. So, sleep. Everybody complains about sleep, but this is personal to me and probably personal to a lot of people out there. So about a year and a half ago, I went to a sleep clinic, and apparently I wasn't getting enough sleep, but mostly, and I'll share this with you, apparently my other half and I couldn't stay in bed together because apparently I snored so badly that it came to a point of actually making two permanent bedrooms. So I went to a sleep clinic, and that was an interesting experience by itself. Because what they do is they wire you all up and they test sort of the brain functions, the body functions, everything they can manage to test with those 200 wires that they paste onto your body with that sort of glue. But as it turns out, I had a case of sleep apnea, and I thought that was something sort of that hit much older people, but apparently it hits anybody from 25 on, and we certainly took care of it, and it's great. Now we only have one bedroom, and that's great too. But I really started looking into sleep and how we function with or without it. And I came across a bunch of studies, and I thought I'd put it together for you. And it's entitled Poor Sleep Hygiene is Killing You and Your Career. So the next time you tell yourself that you'll sleep when you're dead, realize that you're making a decision that can make the day come much sooner. Pushing late into the night is a health and productivity killer. So according to the Division of Sleep Medicine at Harvard Medical School, the short-term productivity gains from skipping sleep to work are quickly washed away by the detrimental effects of sleep deprivation on your mood, ability to focus, and access to higher level brain functions for days to come. The negative effects of sleep deprivation are so great that people who are drunk outperform those lacking sleep. Now, we've always known that sleep is good for your brain, but new research from the University of Rochester provides the first direct evidence of why your brain cells need you to sleep. The study found that when you sleep, your brain removes toxic proteins from the neurons that are byproducts of neural activity when you're awake. So unfortunately, your brain can only do this and remove them adequately only when you're asleep. So when you don't get enough sleep, the toxic proteins remain in your brain cells, wreaking havoc by impairing your ability to think, apparently something that no amount of caffeine can fix, which was always my drug of choice. So skipping sleep impairs your brain functions across the board. It slows your ability to process information and problem solve, kills your creativity, and catapults your stress levels and emotional reactivity. Now, what sleep deprivation does to your health, that's an entirely different story. Sleep deprivation is linked to a variety of serious health problems, including heart attack, stroke, diabetes 2, and obesity. It stresses you out because your body overproduces the stress hormone cortisol, which you'll be hearing a lot about, when it's sleep deprived. While excess cortisol has a host of negative health effects that come from the havoc it wreaks on your immune system, it also makes you look older because cortisol breaks down skin collagen, the protein that keeps skin smooth and elastic. In men specifically, not sleeping enough reduces testosterone levels and lowers sperm count. So I found too many studies to list that have shown that people who don't get enough sleep, who do get enough sleep, live longer, healthier lives. But I understand that sometimes this isn't motivation enough. So consider this. Not sleeping enough makes you fat. Sleep deprivation compromises your ability to metabolize carbohydrates and control food intake. When you sleep less, you eat more and have difficulty burning the calories you consume. Sleep deprivation makes you hungrier. People who sleep less than 6 hours a night are 30% more likely to become obese than those who sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. So here's some more statistics, and I'm not going to make you crazy here, but how much sleep is enough? Most people need 7 to 9 hours of sleep a night to feel sufficiently rested. Few people are at their best with less than 7 hours, and few require more than 9 hours without an underlying health condition. And that's a major problem, since more than half of Americans get less than the necessary 7 hours of sleep each night, according to the National Sleep Foundation. So for go-getters, it's even worse. So here's a recent study of all these 500 CEOs. They found that half of them are sleeping less than 6 hours a night. And the problem doesn't stop at the top. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, a third of the U.S. workers get less than 6 hours of sleep each night. And sleep deprivation costs U.S. businesses more than $63 billion annually in lost productivity. So you can do something about it. Beyond the obvious sleep benefits of thinking clearly and staying healthy, the ability to manage your emotions and remain calm under pressure has a direct link to your performance. Talent Smart has conducted research with more than 1 million people, and we found that 90% of top performers are high in emotional intelligence. These individuals are skilled at understanding and using emotions to their benefit, and good sleep hygiene is one of the greatest tools at their disposal. So there's part one of why we need to sleep, and we all complain about it, but it is as important as any of the other health regimens we put into practice. So sleep, my friends, sleep. Okay, we have a few minutes left. I thought I'd bring you how to sort of quit your phone addiction story, but that would take too long. I think we only have about 3 minutes left. So I talked to you about something I found that I thought was interesting. I'm always trying to bring you sort of a future look of at how technology is going to be used in the future. And what I thought was really fascinating, I was reading a couple of articles on Expedia and how they're using technology. And you know Expedia is the booking engine. You go online and you book your hotel, you book your flight, etc. But they're putting a lot of technology into place that's going to change the way you book and how you experience things. So let's say you're about to book a cruise or a hotel room. Well, basically you read about it, but you have no idea until you get there how it ultimately will be, how it'll feel, and whether you really would like it or not. So Expedia's got a futuristic sort of solution for you. The travel giant is working on offering virtual reality versions of its listings as more people have access to virtual reality gear at home. Now, a lot of younger people are picking up the virtual reality goggles. In some cases, it works with a computer. In some cases, you can actually just put your phone into the goggles and it'll give you a three-dimensional look at how things look. So the Arthur Chapin, he's Expedia's Senior Vice President of Product and Design. He said during a demo at the Expedia's office in Singapore that if you're going to make the decision of booking a cruise, wouldn't it be cool if you could check out the ship virtually before you spend that much money? So virtual reality could change the way people make their booking decisions, allowing users to virtually step into a hotel room and view its features. In the demo they showed, users were able to interact with the room by sliding open doors and stepping out into the balcony. And virtual reality isn't the only technology Expedia is looking into. The travel company is also looking into smart voice devices like Amazon's Echo, which you've heard me talk about a great deal, to see how they could be used to help the travel booking process. Mr. Chapin thinks that voice is something that'll become part of how people interact with travel. And if you know anything about the Echo, you'll know that, at some point, you'll be able to do more than turn on your lights or turn on the coffee maker and get information, but you'll be able to say, hey, Alexa, call up Expedia. I'd like to go to Singapore on the 25th and come back on this airline, and I'd like to stay at a 3-star hotel. And it'll give you all the information, and then it'll say, do you want me to book it? So that looks like the future of travel. And Expedia has spent more than $1 billion investing in technology. And he said it's necessary to spend that kind of money because things are changing so drastically basically that in order to keep up, they have to constantly make use of the advances in technology. So aside from virtual reality, they are experimenting, and this will get you privacy freaks crazy, right, with electromyography. So these EMG machines allow scientists to track emotional response to its website by watching your facial muscles, right? And it helps them understand if there are parts of the booking process that frustrate you. So they're doing all this because their plan is to grow from whatever their bookings are now to about $100 billion in 2020. Good luck, Expedia. And this is David Yakir. Just a reminder, if you are new here, you can subscribe to Yak About on iTunes or any one of the podcasting systems that carry us. And if you are listening to us via radio in your local market, put it on your calendar and set it for iHeartRadio's Waxy 107.9 FM, 1370 AM, or Real Radio's 101.7. And remember, we post to all the major social networks. Just search for Yak About or Yak About Tech. And if you like us that much, download the Yak About mobile apps on both the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. With the apps, you'll always have access to our new shows, new guests, as well as the Yak About archives. In addition, the new apps will allow you to listen live, have access to app-only broadcasts, and you'll even be able to chat with me during the broadcast. So download the apps today. Our goal is to bring you the listening experience that will help you be better, healthier, and more informed than ever before. I'm David Yakir, and you've been listening to Yak About, a Dig production.